Alright folks, welcome back to the next episode of Math4Bronx. Alright folks, welcome back to the next episode of Math4Bronx. Let's start with the triangle. Specifically, we're looking at an equilateral triangle that has all sides equal. Now, let's take a point inside our triangle, a random point inside of our triangle anywhere. So let's say here is our point. Now, here's my claim. Create an altitude from this point. Let's call this point P, shall we? Let's call this point P, and I'm going to create an altitude from this point to all of the three sides. So here's my first altitude. Here's my second altitude. Here's my third altitude. Now, here's my claim. When you add up all three of these altitudes, what you're going to get is the altitude of the whole triangle. Let's prove that, okay? So, we know that this is a right angle. This is a right angle. This is a right angle. Let's draw some auxiliary lines, okay? So, take this point P, connect it to each vertex of our equilateral triangle. Connect, connect, and connect. Okay, so we've connected all three vertices to our point P. What can we do now? Well, let's label these vertices A, B, and C, and let's work out the magic, shall we? Here's a triangle, here's a triangle, here's a triangle. Let's add those triangles up. So we have what? Half of base times height. Let's call this height h sub 1, h sub 1. This height, let's call it h sub 2. This height, let's call it h sub 3. So we have half of base times height plus half of the second base times our second height plus half of our third base and our third height. And what is this all going to equal to? Well, all of this is going to equal the area of our triangle. Half of the base, which is S again, times the height, the altitude of the whole triangle. So let's call that big H. And so now what can we do? Check it out, check it out. What we can do is cut out all of these half S's. Factor it out, factor it out, factor it out, factor it out. And what are we left with? Well, let's write it down. Here is our final result. H1 plus H2 plus H3 is equal to H. That means the sum of the altitudes from the interior point is equal to the major altitude of the whole triangle, and this is Viviani's theorem. Alright folks, that's it for this lecture on Math4Bronx. We'll check you out next time, sponsored by Brilliant.org.
Ambition plus MKO plus scaffolding equals learning. We believe anyone can learn anything. That's why our motto is memorization is a crime. And that's why we partnered with Brilliant.
Brilliant transforms math and science into hands-on activities so that you too can understand everything from first grade math to E equals MC squared. Barry Science Lab and Brilliant is your MKO, and will give you the scaffolding to expand your ZPD until you become the next Sir Isaac Newton or Albert Einstein.
Visit brilliant.org/Barry Science Lab today. And the first 50 of you to use that link will get a 20% discount on the Brilliant annual subscription.
Don't forget that you too can become the next Einstein. So let's fall in love with math and science.